Alex Ferguson, as we join Rahul Tandon. Where are you this morning, Rahul?
I'm by the metro station, Rod. Lots of people beginning to head into work at the moment, some of them wearing Manchester United tops. Listen, you may think that cricket is a religion here, but for the new urban Indian middle class, it's all about football, it's all about the Premiership. So what do they make of Alex Ferguson's decision to step down?
Well, what indeed? One would love to hear, wouldn't one? Have you been talking to some of them, Rahul?
I haven't. I've actually got a Manchester United fan with me here. I've got Jibak Sahu. Jibak, how do you feel this morning? Have you got over it? Did you get any sleep last night?
I'm feeling better than I was feeling yesterday. So, better than yesterday, yeah, but still reeling from the shock. So, still don't know what to do, what to think. So it's kind of a bit mixed up feelings. Proud that I got to experience Alex. Sad that he's leaving. So it's a bit jumbled up right now.
Under Alex Ferguson's leadership, Manchester United have become this global brand. I mean, here in India, they're absolutely massive. How much is he responsible for that?
Well, if you look at it, when he took over the club, we were like 19th in the table. And now we're the champions of England, won the league with 4 or 5 games to spare. So that tells volumes about it. So it's entirely Sir Alex. I mean, what Sir Matt Busby had done earlier, then we had gone into a rough phase, then it's all about Sir Alex. So he's the man. He is the man who's done everything. He has made the club what it is right now.
Is this the end of Manchester United's domination? I'm a Leeds fan. Are we going to get a chance now that Fergie's gone?
Well, you need to come up to the Premiership first for that. Anyway, jokes apart, I don't think so because we've had Sir Matt earlier, then we went into a tough phase, like I said. So it's okay. We're losing Sir Alex. Then we might go, maybe even trophyless for a couple of years, but then we'll come back up. Don't worry.
David Moyes seems to be the man who's going to come in. Are you happy with that? Is another Scot coming in, sort of similar to Ferguson in some ways?
Well, he's been the manager for Everton for the last 11 years, so he knows what it takes for a manager to stick around a club. So he seems to be a logical choice, given that she's succeeding Sir Alex. And I was reading about him yesterday. He, takes a lot of decisions, very informed decisions. So a lot of, informed decision making has gone into this appointment as well, I guess, from Manchester United's part. So I think we can all be optimistic about it.
Has he gone at the right time? I mean, a lot of Indians, would they have gone or would they have tried to cling on a bit longer?
If he was an Indian, I think he would have gone on as long as he was alive. So, but, he being Sir Alex, it couldn't have been a better sending off for him.
This program that you're on at the moment goes out from Manchester. Would you like to send a message to Fergie?
To Fergie, well, what can I say? Thank you. To everybody else in Manchester, you won't believe it, I know, but half of India is crying. Actually, they cried yesterday. So he is as big in Kolkata, in India, as big as he is in Manchester, as he is in England.
Rod, you can probably hear some sounds behind me. It's Rabindranath Tagore, the famous poet, novelist who won a Nobel Prize, his birthday, and huge celebrations in Calcutta. But the simple fact is, there's probably more Manchester United fans in Calcutta nowadays than there are in Manchester, and many of them are really still, as you heard there, in a state of shock.
Oh my gosh. Well, yes, I mean, just curious to know if there are Manchester City fans in Kolkata.
Are there many Manchester City fans here?
No, but I guess with Barcelona faltering, there will be many Man City fans in the next 2-3 years.
It's all United here, I'm afraid. If you walk around the city, Rod, I was on a football pitch this morning speaking to some kids there. They were all wearing Manchester United tops. It is amazing under Ferguson just how big they have become in places like India. They've got restaurants, they've got bars, they've got Manchester United shops here. I mean, they're just all over the place.
I mean, this sounds like an odd question, but if it had been an Indian club with an Indian boss, would they have stepped down?
There's a lot of analogies with Tendulkar here at the moment in the sporting sense. Yeah, he's 40. Let's be honest about this. I'm one of his biggest fans, but he's not the player he was. He is beginning to decline, but he just can't seem to give it up. And I think that has been a problem, with many Indian sports stars, that once they're in the limelight, people here find it very difficult to walk away. And I suppose that's there in many walks of life. So the fact that Sir Ferguson has done this now just after winning a championship, I think many Indians and many writers in the newspapers are commenting on this, has come as a surprise, but I think it's something that a lot of people do applaud it. You should go out when you're on the top, shouldn't you, Rod?
Well, you should. You should. Well, listen, thank you very much to your friend the fan this morning for his insights, and we'll pass on now to talk about some elections that are going on. Maybe not the huge elections that are happening in Pakistan, but there are regional elections in Karnataka. What's happening there?
Yeah, and these are very important. I mean, Karnataka is a state in southern India, one of the largest states there. Your listeners may have heard of its capital city, which of course is Bangalore. Now, they've had their state elections there, and the BJP, the opposition here, which has held that state and was the first state that ever won in southern India, has lost control to the Congress party who run the government here in India at the moment. And I think that's a surprise for many people. The BJP's vote has really dropped quite dramatically. So a lot of miserable faces within their party. But in Delhi, the Congress leaders, I think they're going to be sitting quite happy at the moment because they've had a very, very difficult time. The Delhi rape case, corruption charges against them. But in spite
time, that will be the current manager of Everton, David Moyes, so basically a blue taking over the Reds. Now, when I told my 23-year-old son, who's a lifelong Manchester United supporter, that Ferguson was going, he couldn't believe it. He's only ever known Alex Ferguson as manager of Manchester United. Indeed, he's been there nearly 27 years. Now, my son was distraught. Can't imagine what people in Manchester, at least one half of Manchester, are feeling today. Let's find out, because Seth Bennett is outside the Theatre of Dreams, Old Trafford. What's the mood, Seth?
I think it's a fairly sombre one, actually, as to the reality that life begins not quite today without Sir Alex Ferguson, but by the end of today I suspect that David Moyes will have been officially announced as his replacement, and all of a sudden a new era begins, and that's going to be something that an awful lot of people are going to have to get used to. Within his squad now, you could name a team of 11 internationals, none of whom were born when he took this job here at Old Trafford, that 26 and a half.
That is truly
an incredible testament to his staying power, isn't it?
It is truly remarkable, and I think something which really won't be repeated. And it's worth bearing in mind that he said a few years ago that he'd leave, and it didn't sort of happen. It was a pretty sort of botched operation. This time, there's planning, there's organisation, it's going to happen.
Without doubt, yeah. He said 10 years ago that he wanted to retire, and it left him as a manager that had no legs, really. He was a bit of a sitting duck, and he realised it was a mistake. At that time, Sven-Göran Eriksson, the former England manager, was the man that was due to come in and take the reins here. He decided that wasn't the best course of action for Manchester United, and 10 years on, he's done it very differently. And he does it with a 20th championship. That was a way that he wanted to leave Manchester as a champion, and now there are just 2 more games, and I would say that's 180 minutes, but with Fergie time it could be perhaps closer to 200.
And is there also a question, I mean, not just his age but also his health?
Yes, he's going to have an operation on his hip over the course of the summer, and that would have meant he would miss the start of the next Premier League season. And I think that's something that would certainly play on his mind. People who are an awful lot closer to Sir Alex than me also say that his wife has a fairly big say in things. And Sir Alex isn't walking away from football at this point. All he's going to do, he's going to catch a lift, and he's going to go a few floors further up and go and sit with the Prawn Sandwich Brigade, as Roy Keane so famously called them, and he will become a director of the football club. And he's somebody that has looked very specifically at those around him, and he has, without doubt, anointed David Moyes as his successor. They're 2 guys that are from a very similar background in Glasgow, 2 guys that are very fierce in terms of what they want to get out of the game. And David Moyes might not be the sexiest manager that's available. Of course, Jose Mourinho probably would fulfill that role, but you look at David Moyes and he's somebody that Sir Alex can see perhaps a little bit of himself in, and that's why he feels he's the man that should take over, and he is the man that will take over here at Old Trafford in the coming 24 hours.
So let's just look at the numbers again. 26 seasons, 38 trophies later, and Sir Alex Ferguson is finally leaving, and $3.17 billion. That's the current value of the world's second richest club, Manchester United. And the name Sir Alex Ferguson is big in India as well, and it's inseparable from football as a concept. And we're joined now by our correspondent in Calcutta, Rahul Tandon. Rahul,
The kind of
Good morning.
how are you doing as a Leeds fan this morning? How did you take the news that Sir Alex Ferguson?
I loved it. I thought it was brilliant news, but I've got some members of the Manchester United Kolkata fan club with me here, Abhik, Rick and Jibak. Abhik, how did you feel yesterday? I mean, when you heard that news that Fergie was going, you've been manager all your life. How do you feel?
It was terrible. Actually, I was in my college during for a Viva, and I just skipped 2 panels because I was shocked. I mean, so totally distraught. So I just couldn't take the news. I decided not to give my semester Viva, and I went away from the place.
Your education being destroyed by Manchester United. Terrible. Rick, let me ask you, David Moyes coming in maybe later today. Is he cool enough for Seth said that? Is he sexy enough for Manchester United?
David Moyes actually, the reason he was selected maybe because the philosophy of a club is like we go for someone for long term. So I think in that respect, maybe Moyes won't be a success instantly, but in the long run, maybe 4 or 5 seasons, I think he will be good.
Jimmy, when you think of India, you think of cricket, you think of Tendulkar. Tell me something. How big is football here? How big are Manchester United? And how are people feeling?
It's like comparing a developed country to a developing country, basically. Because if you look at cricket, it's already a big game, and football is coming up. But you know, the thing with a developing game is that it has opportunities, it has grounds to exploit, and it has more, spaces.
But how big are United? Put it into perspective.
Huge. I mean, United has the most fan following in India. Second would be Liverpool, but United beat them by quite a mile.
Did Ferguson do the right thing here, Abhik? Was it the right time for him to go? Has he gone out with grace, dignity?
Obviously, it's not even any time he can go out in dignity any time. I mean, come on, 26 years, 37 trophies. I mean, everything speaks. But then the team is in a rebuilding stage. I don't know how much David Moyes can do pick it up from here. I don't know. Maybe I expected a couple of more seasons from him. Maybe I would say the same thing. I mean, he retires after a couple of more seasons.
Right. You just don't want him to go. Rick, let me ask you a final question. I mean, you know, is this the end now? The end of an era? Have we, Leeds fans, Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans got a chance?
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but it's not the end. It will never be the end because it's United we are talking about. United never dies.
There you go. You can hear the passion here. They are a little bit upset. They're wiping their eyes. I'm not sure if that's the heat or they're crying. But the simple fact is, Alex Ferguson going is big news here in Calcutta.
That's interesting. And Seth, I'm sure you're curious about something.
Yeah, without doubt, Raoul. I heard you this morning talking about the number of Manchester United fans in Calcutta. You reckon it's more than here in Manchester?
Absolutely. Absolutely, mate. Come on, all the fans in Manchester, they're City fans, aren't they?
well, I guess that's been the long-time criticism, hasn't it, of Manchester United. Interestingly, I was actually here yesterday